This is the DJI Power 2000, the bigger brother upgrade from DJI's entrance into the portable power station market in 2024. If you aren't familiar with DJI, they're very well known for their drones and camera like this one here that I'm shooting on right now. And this is their first model, the DJI Power 1000. A little side-by-side comparison for you guys. And then we'll go through everything that this has to offer and feature with the new model, a little bigger model. So this is 2,048 watt hours. It has a Life PO4 battery, which is what you want, and pretty much every power station is coming out with these days. The Life PO4 batteries have a longer lifespan with more charges. So you can charge this 4,000 times and still have 80% capacity. So basically like every day for over 10 years, which is kind of crazy, and still get really high performance out of the battery capacity. But if you're looking for more capacity, 2,000 watt hours, this makes a lot more sense than getting a smaller unit and adding on an expansion battery. Now, the flip side to having all of this in one is the unit is going to be a bit heavier. This weighs about 22 kilograms, which is about 48 pounds. So you'll have to be mindful carrying it around versus splitting up your expansion battery in DJI Power 1000. But you can also add expansion batteries to this as well. So if you want even more power, you can daisy chain multiples of these together using these SDC ports. I believe they're called Smart DC ports, and they're unique to the DJI lineup. But new to this model that we didn't have on the Power 1000 is we've now got a larger output here. So this is a 30 amp. Now this is still 125 volt. It's not 240, but it is a larger amperage. So if you have to plug in maybe like your camper or something like that, and it still uses 125 volts, you can get more amperage out of it. And then we have 3 other household type power plugs on here that you can run stuff. And I'll plug some things in and just show you how much you can run off this in a minute. Now, the other big thing that I noticed right away is look at all of these USB ports. This is one of my biggest complaints with some of the other power station manufacturers is they don't put enough USB ports on here. So we've got actually 4 USB-C ports. 2 of them are super fast charging. These are 140 watts each, which is awesome for charging things like MacBooks or your cell phone really quick, tablets. And we've got 2 more USB-C ports here. These are 65 watts, so a little under half the speed. But we also have 4 more USB ports here. These are the standard Type A ports, and these are 24 watts each. So you've got 8 USB ports here, and with these 140 watt ones, you could probably put a USB dongle or something like that and plug more than one thing in there and really take advantage of that 140 watts. And the inverter in here now is larger than the 1000. We can do 3,000 watts of AC output, which is a ton. If you're using something like an induction cooktop, and like I have an espresso machine and so your camper or whatever, 1,800 watts for your inductive cooktop, 1,000 watts for your coffee maker, and you've still got some left over because you've got 3,000 watts of continuous output power on here. So we'll test that out and I'll show you just what that actually means in the real world. Going over to this side, this is the thing that I initially was not super keen on, is the simplicity of the DJI power stations. But with talking to people, they just want simple grab and go power. And so if you don't want to have apps and all kinds of other stuff going on with power stations, you just want to grab it. You've got a standard 3-prong connector. Oh, actually this is not a standard. This is a slightly different 3-prong connector than before. So yeah, so it's slightly different, probably because it charges faster. But on the 1000, you've got like your regular power cable that I would have on all my other power stations, maybe my computer, some laptop charging bricks. But this has, the Power 2000 has this, can't just use any power cable on here. So that is something to note. But we do have, once again, the simplicity. So if you want to charge it at regular speed, you flip this little switch down, You want to charge this at its full speed, you flip the switch up. Let's plug this in real quick and see what those two charging speeds are. First, I have to peel off the rest of this film. The most satisfying part of doing reviews. So this is the only cable that comes in this kit. You only get the AC charging cable, but that doesn't mean it's the only way to charge this. We can actually charge this with solar or DC. We just need the appropriate cable to plug into these SDC ports here. So we've got this charging at max speed. That's 1400 watts coming off the wall plug. I have to be careful in my garage because if I use the garage door opener, if I use this at the same time as I have one of these power stations plugged in, it actually will trip the breaker in the garage. So I usually have to throttle down anything that I'm charging in here. So if somebody comes along and opens my garage door, everything trips. Once again, back to sort of the simplicity of this, right? So we've got 1400 or so watts, and we can just flick this little switch here to drop it down. I don't have to open up an app and connect to it. We can just hit that little switch and it's going to kick it down to its slower charging speed, which looks to be about 1200 watts. While this is ramping down, I was just looking at the specs of how many expansion batteries you can actually daisy chain together with this SDC port, and DJI says you can expand 10 additional 2048 watt hour expansion batteries, giving you 22,528 watt hours of capacity. I don't think any other company that I've seen with a portable power station of this size can expand to that level of capacity with extra batteries. So if you want to run your cabin or something like that, you just get a big old stack of these things and run everything you need for days. Looks like we're sitting at 1200 watts on the lower speed charging. So you can see here that's going to take about 48 minutes. There's a little readout here. See if I can zoom this in post, but there's a little readout here. It says 48 minutes. We're at 54%, so about 48 minutes to get the other half charged. And if we kick that up to its full speed, now you may notice you can't even hear this. It's absolutely silent. And a lot of other power stations, when you set them to charge at their maximum speed, they have to kick on a bunch of fans and they get quite noisy because the way that they're designed, and I don't know, maybe lack of thermal controls. They just want to make sure they're providing excessive cooling. But this is dead silent. So if you're keeping this maybe in your house as a UPS or something, like an uninterruptible power supply for your computer or your TV, and you don't want to hear it in the background, I can't hear this at all. The birds outside are way noisier than this. So we're charging at 1400 watts now. So you can see this is dumped down to 40 minutes to complete the other half. You're probably looking at an hour and a half or so to go from 0 to full with its full charging speed just off AC. Now we can also get solar in this, and we can get DC input into this, and we can also use DJI's super fast car charger. Dig out my DJI supplies here. So DJI made this last year as well at the end of the year. This is their super fast car charger. It's 1 kilowatt or 1000 watts, and it plugs into one of the SDC ports and hooks directly up to your vehicle's battery with a couple cables, which I've pillaged for something else. And then this feeds directly into here. So while you're driving, you can charge at up to 1000 watts. And I was getting very close to 1000 watts in my Jeep when I was testing the super fast car charger back in December. I'll put a link to that video up here in the corner. You guys can check out the super fast car chargers. So DJI is kind of creating an ecosystem for themselves, just like some of the other companies, like EcoFlow. And I think maybe I'll do a comparison video with this and EcoFlow's Delta 2 Max, which is what I am running in the Demonator, my Gladiator. And I'll put a video up of that shortly because I want to compare the two, because this is really popular. The DJI 2000 isn't popular yet because it's just coming out, but the DJI 1000 behind me is quite popular. When I first saw it, I was kind of like, this is kind of basic. But then when I started showing it to people and and talking about it. They're like, you know, that's all I want for what I need. You know, maybe you're another creator and you've got drones and cameras and you just want some portable grab and go power. You don't want a whole complex, complicated setup. DJI's really doing a good job with that. But then once again, you can stack 10 portable batteries on this, or expansion batteries onto this, and get just an unreal amount of power. So you could potentially power your cabin. And if you don't need 220, you just need a larger amperage 125 volt output. You now have this on the DJI Power 2000. So if you were using the car charger like this here, you could just plug this into one of these expansion ports. Boom, just like that. And then it would be charging off that, and then you still have another one. Now on the Power 1000, these did have different badges on them. So this is SDC and SDC. Where this one is, take this off, SDC Lite and SDC. So looks like they've upgraded the ports as well. So you have two full power. So you have two full power SDC ports. So I see there's also a Wi-Fi light on here. I don't know if they've added this to be built into it now, like some sort of wireless connectivity. Oh, there's the button for turning on the inverter. I'll have to check and see in the manual. In the product information I have, it doesn't say anything about wireless or Wi-Fi, but pretty sure this one doesn't blink. Yeah, there's no blinky light on this one for wireless. So maybe they've built this into it now. That'd be cool. Okay, so just circling back on the app, I was having lunch here. I want to jump back into the video. I updated the app and now I can see the DJI Power 2000 is on here. The one thing with the DJI app is it's not actually available on the App Store on my Android phone. I have to go to DJI's website and download it and load it. Once I did though, I now get the DJI Power 2000 and it says, check if the indicator is on, press, yep, on, green, searching. It's gonna be looking for the Power 2000, which, there we go, look at that pair. Boop. Oh, and look at that. So when we connect to the app, it says, warranty extended. Enjoy an additional 2 years of warranty for free. So make sure you do that. And then we've also got some updates here. So we're gonna update. All right, there we go, all updated. And now we have access to see our DJI Power 2000 through the app. So we can look at the inputs here. It shows what's coming in. It's not charging right now. And output shows you how much output, and you can actually toggle the inverter on and off from here. Or you can turn on super recharging, which pumps it up to 1800 watts. I wonder if that actually pulls 1800 watts from the wall. Let's try. Look at that. It's recharging at 1800 watts, which is going to mean more than 1875, 1840. So it's going to do 20 minutes for 30%. So an hour to do the whole battery or so. In addition to charging this off wall power and or the DJI super fast car charger, you can also connect solar up to this. So we will need the solar adapter. So you take this guy here, this is their solar adapter, and this lets you plug more than one solar panel in. You can plug 3 solar panels in. These are little XT60 connectors that you get on your solar panel. So you don't need a charge controller or anything. That's what this does. And then you just plug this into the SDC expansion port here. And then you can connect your solar panels up to it and charge. And you can also charge while it's charging off of AC. So you can actually charge this even faster if you've got multiple power sources to charge it up. Now, one of the things you may notice missing from here, because we've talked about the AC ports, we've got all the USB connectivity with the inputs and SDC ports, is there's no like 12 volt barrel connector. And I also mentioned you only get this one power cable for charging. Now, there are other options. The way DJI works is they sell the cables as extra. So if you want to charge this off your 12 volts in your car, you can buy this cable, plug it into the SDC port, like that, and you get 12 volt charging. But honestly, I never charge my power stations with this type of connector because they're usually limited to about 10 amps. So you're only going to get around 90 to 100 watts of charging. And on a 2000 watt hour power station, it's like plugging in your EV car into a wall socket. It's going to take 20 plus hours to charge this up. It's just not really that useful. And then some of the other things you can do with this though is, like I said, we're missing a 12 volt barrel connector on here, which if you're using this to power your fridge, your portable DC fridge, you're going to probably want one of those. But honestly, I run my fridge off of the AC anyways. But once again, you can get another dongle, plugs into the SDC port, and it gives you that 12 volt connector. So they're not giving you stuff you probably don't really need, and you can just add it on later. But one of the really cool things, if you are a DJI user with drones, you can get special cables to charge your drone batteries right off of those SDC connectors, and you can charge them really fast, way faster than off of a regular charger that you may be running off of a USB port. So you can pick up one of these. These are specific to your drone batteries. You want to get the right one for the right drone. So if you want to use this to power your computer, maybe your TV, your Xbox, whatever it is you want at home, and use this as a UPS, I think it's a great option. So it can cut over from AC wall power to being a power station for you in 0.01 seconds, which is super fast. On top of that, it's super quiet, so you're not going to really hear it in your house. And then on top of that, if you're thinking, well, I got to have this giant battery in my house, what if it catches on fire? Well, DJI is really focused on that aspect of things. So they've built in 26 temperature sensors and 21 fuses into this to make sure that it's monitoring and keeping track of all the temperatures, and if anything goes wrong, it knows, or it will trip a fuse. They've also added extra layers of protection. I'm just going to read this out because I'm having a hard time remembering exactly the specifics here, but the BMS board, which I guess is some sort of controller board on here, has a nano coating protection, but as well it has inverter potting protection. This will help if there's any accidental water ingress. You know, you're taking this camping, maybe there's a little bit of mist, some dew, whatever. It's not waterproof, but they've taken steps to prevent issues from happening if some water gets near this, as well as just the design of this and those protections and the upgrades that they made to the internals are going to make this more robust for like going down back roads, bumpy roads, off-roading. I mean, it's even so well built that you can literally use it as a seat. They say that you can put 1 ton on this. They've built this structure out of flame retardant material as well. So if maybe you've got it near the campfire, it shouldn't melt. It's much less likely to melt. Now, I don't weigh a ton, but you know, sit down, have a seat, plug your stuff in, charge it. It's pretty cool. In the pictures they sent me, there's actually like, it looks like the tire vehicle parking on the corner of it. I kind of want to park the Demonator on it, but I think that might be more than a ton per corner. Now, the one thing, actually, I want to find out what this little port here is. I'm not sure what that is. I have to ask DJI, but they didn't tell me. But I think there's some solar panels that aren't available to us here that can directly plug into that little connector, but I'll have to figure that out. Anyways, we'll close these up. We got everything plugged in, and this is an induction cooktop, which I use for camping. I don't bring gas anymore. And you can set the power to 1800 watts, which is this max. You know, that's super hot. I never cook on that. I usually cook on like 800 watts. Making breakfast, make some eggs on there. You want to make a cup of coffee? Well, we're already pulling 1400 watts. Pop on our espresso machine, give that a second to warm up. You see this is heating the espresso machine up, 2300 watts. So we can run it 3000 watts continuous. We could actually plug something else in here if we wanted to. And that's quite a bit, you know, especially if you turn this down. You're cooking on 800 watts. You see this drops down right away. See how many percentage points this goes down. It says it will run at about 30 minutes right now at this capacity or this load of 2300 watts with us having 72% left. That's a ton of power, guys. So you could cook breakfast, make your coffee. If you can do that in under 50 minutes or even an hour, because we still have 30% more to charge on here, you can do all that and then recharge it with your super fast car charger. Just the prime example of how I'm moving away from bringing little tiny propane gas canisters with me every time I go camping and go out. So one of the last major factors with any power station is the price. DJI is just launching this, so they will have some launch pricing. I'll put links down in the description below. I usually don't like to talk specifics about pricing in videos because it really depends on when in the year you're looking at this video or watching this video and what kind of pricing is going on. Whether it's launch and there's early launch, early bird pricing, whether it's mid-year, they may have a sale on. Lots of companies put sales on throughout the year, whether it's Black Friday or Christmas, you're gonna see different pricing. And if you're watching this video in a year or two from the launch, they may have decreased the pricing because of future models. So what I recommend is the last thing you do before you buy a power station is go and check out all the recent pricing, and we'll have the most recent pricing in the links down in the description below. Now they are affiliate links, so I do get a small commission. If you buy something, there's no extra cost to you, and it helps support me making videos here on the channel. And if you want to check out any of my other reviews or trips or off-road adventures, I post new videos every week. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers, so hit that subscribe button. We're getting really close, we're almost there. And if you have any questions about the DJI Power 2000 or any other products, leave them down in the comments below. Leave a like, share this video with your friends, because that helps with the YouTube algorithm, and we want to beat the YouTube algorithm. My name's Casey, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.